our amplitude A, will be 2. Then our D, which is the vertical shift, will be 0. And then our B will be, this graph is kind of tricky because B is 2 pi over period. Now, how do we find our period? The difference between the two highest points or the two lowest points. Now, I can't find any two highest points and I can't find any two lowest points here. What am I going to do? I'm going to complete this graph like this. Here, I'm going to complete it like this. Now, look at the interval of the 2 points. So from this point to this point, just 1 bar, and here is pi. The next one is, okay, 2 pi, pi, 0, pi, this. So that means that the difference between each point is pi. So therefore, the next point here after this should be 3 pi. Now let me repeat myself again. I've looked at this graph and I've seen the pattern. The pattern is that the distance between one point and the next point is pi. So this is point 0 and then negative pi and then negative 2 pi. So that means that their interval is pi. So here I have 0, pi, 2 pi. So the interval is actually pi. So that means that the next point should be what? 3 pi. So have you seen I've gotten 2 points at the bottom? And the 2 points at the bottom is 3 pi and pi. So with that, I can find my period. My period will be equal to 3 pi minus 3 pi minus negative pi. So that will be 3 pi plus pi, which is 4 pi. So therefore, the B will now be 2 pi over 4 pi. And that will leave my B to be 1 over 2. All right, so let me write this as sine. So to write my sine, my amplitude will be 2 sine. My B is 1 over 2. Let me know if I'll have a phase shift or not. There's no vertical shift. So that means I'm looking for the point closest, that's there at the middle, closest to the y-axis. So let me pick this point actually. Let me start from here. So that means if I'm to pick this point, there'll be no phase shift. So my answer will be 2 sine 1 over 2x. And my amplitude will be positive because it's there middle up. Now, what if this, because to me, this point doesn't make any sense. If this should be a theory question that there are no options, that doesn't even make any sense to me because the loop is quite small. So let me observe this one. Maybe I'll now check which one is closer to my answer. So my amplitude doesn't change. So that will be 2 sine. My B doesn't change, 1 over 2. Then I have x. And then my phase shift is, this happened in pi to negative 2 pi. So if it's at the left hand side, it will come to the equation to be positive 2 pi. All right. Then let me observe the cosine equation. So I have 2 sine equation. This is 1 and then this is 2. Now let me observe the cosine equation. My amplitude doesn't change. 2 cos, oh, I forgot something. This one started middle down. So that means the amplitude will be negative. So this will be negative 2 sine 1 over 2 and the rest. So let me observe this for cosine. So for the cosine, I'm looking for the highest point or the lowest point closest to the y-axis. So I have this to be 0.1 and this to 0.2. So the one that makes more sense to me is 0.2. But I'm going to solve it for the case, for the sake of the video and what I'm trying to explain to you. So this will be 2 cos. My B doesn't change. Now let's observe. So assuming it's 0.1, my phase shift, the equation will now be negative pi the phase shift will now be negative pi, and this will be, my amplitude will be positive. So that's just it. Now let me observe this point. Amplitude doesn't change, B doesn't change, X. So my phase shift here will now be positive pi, and therefore my amplitude will change because it's there at the bottom. So that is negative cos this. So for what you did, you didn't even get the answer, a little bit close, but it's not your fault. Now for this number 5, I really love the question because this gave an insight of, okay, you have to complete this graph. Okay, so that is it. Let's check the options that we have here for it. From the option, this is what I have, this, which is E. I have that, which is E. Sorry, my pen. Okay, I have that, which is E. Then for the cosine, this is what I have for the cosine. I have this, which is M. So for this, it is E and M. So that means what they used was the second point. Yes, that second point is supposed to be what they should use, because this one doesn't make any sense to me. The loop is too short. Now, just like I said, if the options are not popped up like what we have here, where if you pick your own point and you didn't see the option, try and navigate through the next 2 points at the left or at the right. That might give you like one of the correct answers. And then secondly is, but if this is not an optional, if it's not a question that comes with option, I do advise that you pick a point that makes sense. I like saying makes sense because there are some points that you see that you actually, okay, it doesn't make sense. Now, to even be on a more safer side, when a point starts at the immediately at the y-axis, that is a very good point. But from some cases, at least try and move a little bit to make the loop maybe one the next point. But that's just it.